I am out of breath. How are you doing tonight, Joey? Yeah, race 8 of 11 race to the championship, fourth installment of restrictor plate racing for this season. And the point race is amazing. And the fact that, well, we've had that many races and that many winners, Joey. It's been a really competitive run for this Classic Cup Series on Thursday nights. And tonight's going to be no different. It's going to be amazing to run here at Daytona. Yeah, hats off to Reed Rundle. Exciting race to the finish, and Reed able to sneak in there and get himself the first victory of 2020, looking to make another one tonight. Mike Kelley leapfrogged into the points lead. He's got Chad Coleman and Tyler Dalton right there behind him. Chad Coleman, though, has been the guy on the search lately, Joey, with 5 top 5s in the last 5 races. Yeah, 60 laps is the distance, 150 miles. These drivers, you know how it is, Joe. You either love, hate, or are indifferent with restrictor plate racing at Daytona. But here we find ourselves again at the birthplace of speed. And I'll tell you, when you get into pack racing and you watch these drivers run, the way that they can move forward and pick and choose the line and see the draft, it's always fun just to watch the chess match play out in real time. Yeah, so these drivers have an hour to come in prior to the main event to practice, get their cars tuned up, get themselves acclimated. They also come in and set up their strategies, Joey. They have teammates, a lot of them, and have discussions about ways to set their wheels up to run this racetrack. Are they going to run early? Are they going to run fast? Are they going to sit back? You have to kind of get in the headspace of these drivers when they come in here to figure it out. And then, of course, you could be running in the pack and somebody makes a little oops and your night's over just that quick. Let's see if we can pull Reed away. He's in hanging out with some other drivers in a channel. Let's see, Joey, do you have that privilege? So while we're trying to figure that out, let's just tell you the way the world works in sim racing. We are all in this chat program that we can talk to the drivers, talk to the officials, similar to a radio network, but it's done through the computer. And Reed is sitting in a booth right down below us, and actually we could pull him up in and have a chat with him. And in fact, Hey, Reed, how's it going?
What's happening, guys?
Hey, we surprised you. We pulled you up in here. We just wanted to get your perspective. We're still happy for you after that win last week and enjoying that situation for you. How about this week? What do you think?
I don't know. This track is crazy. I mean, with the fact of the speeds that we're running and how uh, how old school steering this is and everything, the car tends to wash, and we're hitting 215, 216 in a draft at the end of the speedway or at the end of the straightaways and stuff. So it'll be tough. This is a survival race, which seems to be all I've been not able to do in the super speed race.
We know that coming to this track for the first race of the season is difficult, right? Because you're working with people you don't know, new drivers in the series or whatever. But we've had the better part of the season to get acclimated. You kind of get a sense of who's in and around, but it's still kind of roulette, right? Depending on where you are, right place, right minute. That's what we were just talking about before we pulled you up in here.
Yeah, and the problem that you have with it is that with the talents of drivers that are in here and everything, it's just one little twitch, one little mistake. I mean, one other car makes a move, and you try to not get involved, and it's a crapshoot no matter what you do at places like this. I mean, real world or here.
So last week, after the race, you and I had a little sidebar. I was able to chat with you after Victory Lane, and you sent over an image of a race car, and I won't spoil it. Tell me about that race car. Describe that to me.
Yeah, so I grew up around the Milwaukee area, short tracks. My dad raced from late 60s through the 70s, made a couple of starts in the 80s, but sportsman racer for most of the time, got into late models for a while. And 1972 was his best year. Ran basically this exact paint scheme, the orange, white, and brown 43 car. It was a 1964 Ford Galaxy in the sportsman division. And it's always kind of been my thing to honor him a little bit with the 43 car. People think it's a petty thing. It's not. And then, of course, to run the colors. I've been sim racing for 20 years, and pretty much everybody knows that I've always stuck with some form of orange and white, sometimes with a little bit of brown on it. This is pretty much a throwback to that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is the conversation started with us telling you that you have one of our favorite paint schemes, and then you made that tie to us of showing us the history back. And I race 127 or 77 or 39 because my brothers ran those car numbers and still do. Actually, my twin runs 2B, and so it's always neat to have that tie back to a real racing family. And here you're playing those honors with the colors on the car and the number, and it makes more of a connection for us. So what do you think I want to ask you about qualifying, because we're about to head there in 30 seconds. Are you running hard in qualifying, or do you want to start out back? Do you have any strategy for that?
I've always been one that I kind of have never been able to just sit back and try and pace or whatever. I'll try and run where I can. I may drop back in the race, but I'll probably qualify like I'm trying to qualify for the pole and go from there and let it land where it does, and start from that point.
Are you racing with teammates tonight, or are you running on your own?
I've pretty much always been a single guy as far as not been involved with a lot of teams. However, the boys over at Unacceptable adopted me a little bit. So, I do have a couple guys here that I can count on if need be in the race at that point.
Yeah, so we should be looking at you possibly running with Hardin, Rhyne, a couple of the other guys in that pool, right?
Yeah, Yoakum, DJ Beverly's in here tonight. Seth is... Harrelson runs with us too, so yeah, those will be the guys that if I can hook up with them, I'll do my best.
Well, listen, we know we're holding them up from getting qualified. So, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Talk to you later.
Yeah, Joey, I was looking at that and going, yeah, we need to release him and let him go. And off he goes to turn number one. He's got 5 minutes to put in a couple laps, so I think he's safe. But how cool is it when you talk to these guys and you find out, Joey, that they have a racing heritage and they're carrying that into the sim racing world and representing? Yeah, and the neat thing about it is he just won of all the group of racers that come in here, and all of them have their unique stories, and it's always fun to make acquaintance for this. And Joey, we've been friends for a long, long time, and we met through sim racing, and that's one of the things that, you know, drivers who are competitive tend not to communicate with drivers in the real world, you know, especially the higher they get. But here, I think a lot of sim racers are really lifelong friends. So the cars are out on the track. We're starting to see some of the results coming in right now. Jimmy Coleman in the number 31 holds the provisional pole. We see our man Reed Rundle right now sitting in that 10th slot as he's trying to run his second lap, and we'll see how this tracks out. But, you know, Joey, when we look at qualifying, it doesn't mean as much here at Daytona as it does where you're in other racetracks and it drives track position and all that. Here, you're just flat out all the way around.
Yeah, flat out. And Kevin, I don't know, some guys were saying when they couldn't hear me, so I apologize for that. Still the rookie producer thing, and then understanding what buttons to hit and what not to hit. So I'm back. Hopefully you guys can hear me, and we'll get ready to rock and roll.
So we're watching these cars wind down practice about a minute and a half to run it through, and then we'll bring you the grid. It's 60 laps tonight. It's a relatively comfortable night here at Daytona International Speedway. 76 degrees. The track is right at basically that same temperature. Not a lot of wind. There is dynamic weather in the racing sims, so these drivers, when they come in, they know that they're going to face different conditions. But here in the evening twilight time frame, the racetrack should have plenty of grip. This is the modern version of the racetrack, not the older legacy version, so it's smoother. And these cars, they're still going to be a handful, Joey, in driving. But, you know, for the most part, this should be a little easier than the legacy track.
Yeah, no bumps, and the cars should be really smooth through the corners, and that's what they want. Not that the legacy track's bad at all, but you know, it just takes a little bit more. It's harder to run side by side, so I think the guys are definitely prefer this racetrack out of the two for sure.
Yeah, these cars from this sim, they're supposed to be a handful. That's the whole point. They were a handful back in that time frame, and they're a handful right now. And if the track is smoother, at least you can focus on your driving line and not so much about trying to keep the thing heading in the right direction.
And that's true. And Kevin, we've talked week in, week out. This car is extremely tough to drive. These guys have to put a lot of will into it. And then it slides a lot. So you'll point the car and almost drive it like a dirt late model. So it's quite interesting when you race at these speeds at tracks like Daytona and Talladega.
You would think with the 31 degrees of banking that when you go into turn one and you turn the car, it would just hook and stick. But the way this racetrack works with this sim is you go in and the car actually pushes up a little bit. So if you're on the outside, which is pretty common, 2x2, 3x3 going into the corner, you got to be mindful of the car to the inside, to the outside. And all of these drivers are pretty comfortable with the dynamic. They know the drivers in here. And, you know, they just want to basically kick this thing off and get it started. And the cars are coming to the grid. We'll be able to give you the lineup in just a moment. We're looking at the race control right now. Ricky Hardin, the race administrator, is going through the drivers' meeting last notes for these drivers, just getting things sorted out before they turn them loose. We should be able to head out onto the racetrack in just a moment. We'll be able to bring you your qualifying grid with Brian Macklin in the number 30. He starts on the pole here tonight. Chad Coleman in the 38 starts outside position 2. Cole Dutton in the 2 starts in the 3rd position outside row 2, 4th starting spot for Tyler Dalton. our favorite combo, Dalton and Dutton, in that second row. Mike Kelley, your points leader, starts in the 5th position. 6th position tonight is E.J. O'Rourke in the number 41. With a time of 44.715, 7th starting spot for Jimmy Coleman. He was our provisional pole route, but when everybody finished, he slotted down to the inside of that 4th row. Reed Rundle, he ended up 8th in his run to the qualifying run. Cory Chester in the 6th, he's had the hard luck all year. He's looking to get his first win of the season. He starts in the 9th position. Robert Gillenwater, always fast on these restrictor plate runs. He's in the number 4 tonight. Kodak Colors, he starts 10th. 11th starting spot for Seth Harrelson in the 07. Todd Kirkwood in the number 94 will start 12th. Cars roll off, heading to turn number 1 behind the pace truck as we're getting ready to start. 13th starting spot tonight for Jeff Rhyne in the number 51. Bill Schoonover, not had the season he's looking for. Maybe that'll turn around tonight. He starts the 09 in 14th. Scott Simley in the 12 starts 15th. Outside row 8, 16th starting spot for Jeff Shrewsbury in the number 21. Ricky Hardin in the 15. He's going to start in that 17th position. 18th is Aaron Bennett in the 03. Jason Barum, one of your top point contenders, he starts the 99 in that 19th position. Randy Yoakum in the 8 starts 20th. John Zeirke in the life buoy, number 71, starts 21st. 22nd starting spot tonight for DJ Beverly. Doug Sigmon in the 04, going to start 23rd. And Tim Wertman Jr. in the yellow number 83 starts 24th. Rounding out the back of the field, Shannon Wood, Gerald Livingston, and James Sompke as the field rolls through turns 3 and 4. We're going to get ready for a green flag start for 60 laps of action here tonight at Daytona Motor Speedway.
Here we go, Kevin. Very excited about this. This should be a excellent start. We'll see what kind of racing the guys give us here early. I'm expecting some single file racing, but we'll see. Brian Macklin to the green flag, and here we go, Kevin.
Macklin kicks it up. You can hear those engines roar as they go across the stripe, getting ready to compete for lap number 1. He's going to head off to turn number 1, 2 by 2 by 2. Nobody really breaking out of line as they hit the banking for the first time. Robert Gillenwater is the single car sitting back there in that 10th position. He's going to come down to the low line, and as they head off to the back straightaway, it is still a horse race. Going down the outside lane seems to have a little bit of an advantage.
Tyler Dalton coming off last week. He blew the engine, if you remember. A little contact right there between teammates Brian Macklin and E.J. O'Rourke. But the 9 blew up last week. That's how Mike Kelley took the points lead. So he's got a lot to make up this weekend as the 9 goes to the lead here on Chad Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman's on the inside line. We thought he might be able to get a good run coming off of turn 4, but he wasn't able to because E.J. O'Rourke was shoving the 9 of Dalton. Dalton going to lead lap number 1, but O'Rourke is now in command. He dives low in turns 1 and 2 and out of turn number 2 to the backstretch, but the number 41 out front of this field.
E.J. O'Rourke is a super speedway specialist. We have a lot of guys that we would consider that, but E.J., just like Coleman, these two guys are always at the front. They're always somebody you got to battle with week in, week out. So it's exciting to see which one of the two is going to come out on top.
We just taking in what's going on here as drivers are settled in right now. This is where they find out how they fit into the field. It seems a little spread out. I'm kind of surprised by that, Joe. Usually they're in tighter formations, but going back to like Bill Schoonover sitting back there in the 9th position, he's going to be sitting 10, 12 car lengths off of that first pack of cars running together, and everybody behind him is kind of eased away from each other.
And this is where I'd like to be if I'm on the racetrack. Back here with Bill, you're close enough to you can pull back up to that front pack, but you're far enough back that you could miss the wreck. So I like the strategy that Bill's playing right now.
Yeah, me too. And certainly a lot of these drivers have seen chaos, mayhem at some of these restrictor plate races, and they just want to get to the finish and get themselves in position to get a win here tonight. I see the 09 of Schoonover. He's sideways Oh, what a shame. He got down on the banking, hit the apron, and launched the car up across. And Bill Schoonover is going to bring out caution number 1 as he just lost the handle. The car got loose on the entry to turn number 1, and he slid across the track, collected another car, and unfortunately his night's going to end early.
Yeah, that was the 12. There he goes right there, perfect. You just get into the corner. Yeah, like we mentioned, the cars are completely out of control when you get into the corner, but overcorrection and Scott Simley, nowhere to go. That 12 car is destroyed. We'll have to check on him down in the Info Care Center.
Yeah, the two of them had to get their cars towed in the sim. They just placed them back to pit road. They can potentially sit there for quite a while to get the damage repaired, but both of them took a monumental shot, and it is highly likely that they will not be competitive, as we are working caution number 1 here on lap number 5. And you know, I've raced with Bill quite a long time, Joey, and this is not the Bill that I'm used to, and unfortunately he's just got to be super frustrated with this start to tonight.
Oh, sure. I mean, when you lose the race car like that and your night ends early, it's definitely not Bill Schoonover, the one we remember. He's back racing again, so Bill will be back to where he used to be years ago. I'd say give him a few more months and watch out for that 09.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of somebody else I know that just got into it lately and can't get out of his own way, but I won't talk about that.
Well, I've been doing it 12 years, and I'm still doing it, Kevin. So,
So the cars are single file behind the pace truck as they roll off to the back straightaway here. Everybody kind of taking a collective breath. I always feel, Joey, at this stage of the race, as we see a lot of them actually heading to pit road, I like to get that start out of the way, get some green flag laps, and then when that first caution comes, I can take a breath.
yeah, and you've survived the start of the race, so now at this point, it's a short race too, so only 60 laps. You've got to be on top of your game. So we'll take how about a quick break? We'll come back and we'll catch these guys on the other side.
Yeah, so we're going to step away and pay some bills. We'll be right back after these messages with more from Daytona. The Sim500.
Just how good are genuine GM parts? Good enough for Dale Earnhardt, 3-time Winston Cup driving champion. And the same kind of quality that goes into the GM parts for his car goes into the GM parts for your car. So get the goods under your hood. Genuine GM parts from Mr. Goodwrench. Only at GM dealers. Only on GM cars.
Nice little throwback commercial there, Kevin?
I don't give me a feed. You're not showing live, and I'm not in your. I went to Facebook. I don't see you. So where can I pick it up? Your Facebook thing looks blank to me.
Yeah, it's there. All right, we're back.
That's one of the things that, you know, drivers who.
As you can hear Kevin in the background.
Facebook thing looks blank. Yeah, I was just watching a replay there, so forgive me on that. But Joey, we're under caution number 1, and these drivers are done with a pit stop. A lot of them went in and topped off. They only have one set of tires. I don't know if some of them took it here. As I was watching, I didn't see any drivers changing, but I'm kind of surprised they went to pit road. Do you think that they had one fuel stop they had to make in order to get to the finish?
Yeah, Kevin, I think they're probably going to need to stop again. I think these cars probably run about 30, 35 laps. So right now these guys are just topping it off. I would definitely look for them to come back in later.
We know sometimes the drivers go in and they fill the cars with fuel just to have that weight load in the back of the car to get the spoiler down, and it could be the reason why they want to keep them topped off. As we're getting ready to go back to the restart. Ted Coleman, of course, is your leader right now, and as he heads down the backstretch, this is the part of the race, Joey, where you're kind of looking around trying to figure out, if you didn't find your teammate, where are they? What's it take for them to get to you? A lot of drivers feel really comfortable if they have their teammate in front of them or behind them. And when they see a foreign driver they take pause during these cautions to look around and see where their teammates are to see if they can get together.
Well, there's guys that you're comfortable running with, and there's guys that you're scared to death to be around. So definitely they're looking to find that comfort zone, looking for teammates. I don't know how often you can, or how much you can kind of tandem together in these cars. So it's all about momentum, just keeping it up and more or less keeping the race car underneath you.
So Chad Coleman, he's going to bring us back to green conditions as the pace truck going to turn left here. It'll be Coleman and O'Rourke on the front row. Pace truck is off to the safety of pit lane. Green flag is out. Coleman comes up. He's getting a good start. As he crosses the lane, he's out in front of basically everybody else by a couple car lengths as they head to turn number 1. And he had no help with that, Joey. That's usually a hard thing to do, which means he hit the gears absolutely perfect as they go to turn 1.
Speaking of hitting the gears, it looks like Mike Kelley in the wall there by himself. The car just a little loose getting into the corner, dropped back a few spots, but all is well, looks like. Mike Kelley, number 5, is back up to speed. Oh, we got contact.
A real fucking problem out there to throw the damn
caution going to come back out as the leader's heading into turn number 3.
I had no idea what was happening there.
They'll have to collect the pace truck over there on the front straightaway as cautions breed cautions, and unfortunately these guys just need to slow up a little bit here, make sure they don't take a bad situation and make it worse. And it looks like Dalton is going to lead them across the line as they go down across the stripe to score the lap. And we'll look to see if we can figure out where the trouble was out in the back of the pack.
Oh, right there. Airborne on the 21. Hard to the inside wall. Check it one more time. It looks like the 6, just little contact, and that was the end of it. Jeff Shrewsbury hard the inside wall. The 21 car is pretty much done for the day.
Yeah, so 2 incidents quickly here in this event, lap number 9, working caution number 2. And now the drivers start thinking, I would love to see a green flag run and get settled in and figure out, a lot of times, Joey, when you run this track, you're trying to figure out the space and the runs and whether you could sit side by side next to somebody, and you need green flag laps to make that happen. So now the drivers are going to think that they're going to be antsy and want to get some laps in. Is a hard knock for Shrewsbury. That's a tough run. I see. Who was that ducked off the pit road? The 41 of EJ O'Rourke.
Yep.
Don't know why he was planning to yield that, but he's going to head to the attention of his crew. Stops in his pit box, and he's just going to sit there and pick up some fuel. No tires. We see Mike Kelley in. Given what you said about Mike, chances are he might look to get some of that damage. And O'Rourke, they just topped off the fuel, and he's going to jump off. That'll put him deep in the pack, and you know how that always works, Joey. You get what you wanted by going to pit road, but then you're behind the rest of the pack, and if something happens, it could potentially put you in jeopardy.
With 2 early cautions, EJ O'Rourke might not be in that bad position right now. He's got probably 15 or so cars to get back into the top 10. EJ's clutching it right now, so definitely in fuel saving mode for the 41. He may even drop back in and top it off here before we get global green.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that these drivers are looking to see what they can do to get to the fuel window. And I'm with you. I don't think there's a lot of tire wear here tonight. So track position is going to be important. And you work it like a road course. If you can get to the fuel window and you can get the tires you need to go to the finish, then you're done. And you just race to the front, try and stay up there the whole night.
Yeah, it's much easier when you got plenty of fuel to get to the end of the race. As you mentioned, tires are not going to be that big of a deal tonight, but you got to have the fuel to get to the end of the race. This track, wide open, it's really hard to say, but again, with these cars, how loose and out of shape they are when they get into one, unlike others, they are lifting on entry in most cases.
So we'll look to see where O'Rourke is going to slot in here for the restart. But out front, a familiar car. Tyler Dalton in the number 9 is leading the pack right now. Reed Rundle has made his way from that 8th starting spot in just a handful of laps to get himself to that 2nd position. Brian Macklin is 3rd, Chad Coleman is 4th, Aaron Bennett and Seth Harrelson 5th and 6th. And it's still early in the going here, but I think a lot of these drivers are trying always, like a chess match, to figure out what's the best play for this race.
Well, right now the best play is these guys just need to get in line. Just have 50 laps to go. Really hadn't had a chance to get into a good rhythm yet with the early cautions. So that's what I think these guys probably are getting from the race control is to let's slow it down a little bit, guys. Let's get in line. Let's get some laps logged. And then you'll find out who's got the best race car over the long run.
We take a look at one driver here tonight, the number 99 of Jason Barum, running in the 20th position. Jason has had good runs this season, and he even was knocking on the door for a win, but he's the first driver in the point championship, 5th right now, without a win, and he'd like to settle that score tonight. And he's had some good runs. He's got 4 top 10s, but no top 5, so he's just been pointing his way with consistent finishes all night and sits in that 5th position in points in 20th here tonight, and he's just looking to see what he can do to get himself a win before the season's out.
Yeah, again, still early. I look for the 99. The biggest thing is he's had some bad luck. That he should be a top 5 driver in most cases, but he's just had some bad runs over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, so the drivers kick it off, and they're going to go back to green here as we watch them streak off into the corner. Right now, everybody's just kind of leaving a little space. That's the good news. They're side by side out front, and I'm looking back through the pack. The drivers are stretched out. And as we go to the back straightaway one more time, it looks like the outside lane has gotten really a good run every lap off of turn number 2.
That looks like the preferred line. There's Reed Rundle now dropping the inside. He wants to go for the lead. As Brian Macklin now looking for 3 wide. That's definitely not what you want right now as he drops back down to shove the 43 back out front.
Yeah, I saw troubles over there in turn 3 and 4 for number 94 was up against the wall. Todd Kirkwood. He was able to kind of gather the car up, but lost quite a bit of track position. He dropped back to 23rd. Right side is scuffed as he passes by us, but none the worse for the wear is look at that race for the lead. They're 3 wide going down into that corner. I'm kind of surprised at the aggression at this early level.
Yeah, maybe we hadn't had enough cautions, and they want to add a few more, but definitely aggressive here at the front of the field. Rod Reed still leads them off turn 4.
Rundle's up front. He's got the 30 right behind him, and his tire tracks tucked underneath the bumper. The 9 of Dalton to the outside. We see the Chad Coleman, number 38, sideways up off the corner. That's the way these cars race, and you got to give a call to Aaron Bennett in the 03. Aaron down there in the bottom slot, 3rd car back, just kind of pacing himself, has made his way in from that 18th starting position, and now they're 3 wide with Reed Rundle in the middle. As they head into the corner, Rundle drives into the banking. He's able to hold the car. He's going to slip back and slide down. Everybody keeps it pointed in the right direction. Bennett gives him a little bit of space. As out front, it's Macklin able to take advantage of that run, but it continues to be the outside line leading at the stripe. I'm going to give that one to the 9 of Tyler Dalton.
Dalton back out front. He's got Chad Coleman pushing. Coleman had the 9 sideways through the trouble there a while ago, just pushing pretty hard. And just to echo in 03, this is the first race for Aaron Bennett, so he is making some noise early here at Daytona.
Knock on wood, we're right in the middle of that green flag run we were running from. You see these drivers drive into the corner, and the car just jumps out sideways. They're turning to the right to compensate. Then they get the car with grip to the right side wheels, and they steer it down and look to see if they can advance their position. And one of the things I notice is Dalton is tucked on that back bumper of your leader, Macklin, right now, and the 2 of them being tight together have been able to inch ahead because of the draft.
And Dalton does push him out a little bit. He's looking for that opportunity to drop down and go for the lead. Tyler Dalton wants to lead every lap, so I don't look for him to ride behind the 30 very long.
And we'll have to look back and see what happened to E.J. O'Rourke. Well, where do you think he is from restarting after? He's in 8th.
Look at this guy. I mean, he is one of the best, I got to say it. E.J. is so aggressive, but he's also extremely smart when he does it in most cases.
Yeah, just how do you do that? I never could figure that out, right? You choose your lines and whatever. And, I want to give a call to those guys who don't make a lot of noise but tend to keep themselves in the hunt. Looking back at that Mountain Dew number 31 car, sitting right there in the 11th position, just off the lead pack. Jimmy Coleman, quiet race right now, started 7th, had a good qualifying effort, and he's always there at the finish, and it shows up from his point championship, still sitting in the 10th position, and having a respectable season.
Yeah, Jimmy Coleman, part of the Sim500 Motorsports team. Of course, his teammate right there is Bob Gillenwater in the 4 and Jason Barum in the 99. So these guys are just playing a smart race right now. You can easily get up there and race side by side if you want, but I think these guys obviously are doing, like you mentioned, they're playing smart, playing it safe, and just right at the back of this lead back and let them race all they want.
So this is the Daytona we've come to be accustomed to. The 3 wide for the lead heading into the corner, and the 3rd place car he's going to drop back just a little bit.
Wow.
He makes discretion the better part of valor there, as these drivers are testing, but they're also being conservative enough to make sure that they don't get themselves in trouble up front.
Caution.
And just like that, they cautioned out. It's amazing the guys up front are racing like crazy, and we're having these little issues in the back of the field. That's only how it works, though.
Yeah, it is. And, I think one of the reasons you could explain that is, you know it, I know it.
Wow.
If you run out of the back,
There's
it's
another wow.
place to race.
Wham! And out of our space in the 94 guys.
It is really hard to race out back, quite honestly. Sometimes you do not give credit to the drivers and how hard they compete and fight and slog themselves for positions back there. And, it's just the nature of the beast.
Doug Sigmon, just a hard impact on the 94. And up and out of the park he goes. Bill Elliott upside down.
Yeah, sometimes the graphics in the game just kind of go for the sensational, and I think that one scores a 10.5 as far as punting that 94 car up in our replay. But unfortunately, the 94 lost the handle, and like real racing, they come down the banking. And if you're coming along, you try to be where they're not, but sometimes you misjudge that.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's coming down pit road here. Brian Macklin will lead the field in. This may be the point you take your tires here, Kevin.
Yeah, we'll watch a couple of these drivers. I'm riding on board with the number 38. He's right up in that second pit stall. He jumps in. Right in front of him is the 30 car of Macklin. I see gas, and I do see right side tires going on the number 38. So you're right. Some of them, Macklin was fuel only. It looks like O'Rourke fuel only for the 9, but right side tires I saw on the 38. So your leaders up front opting for different strategies right now, but a lot of them are taking advantage of this caution to come to pit road.
Yeah, and you think EJ, obviously he just took fuel there, so that's put him back in the front of the field. Obviously, in that last restart, he did everything he needed to put himself in a chance to lead, but now he's got on an even playing field with fuel and everything else with the rest of the field.
Yeah, and because his fuel tank was a little, had a little more fuel in it from last time, his pit stop was a little shorter, but he was running 8th, came out in 6th, not a huge gain for him. Actually, let me see where he slots in. The timing and scoring hasn't picked up, but I do believe he's in 5th or 6th back there.
It looks like here he's got a
Barry Mercer.
Oh, you're right. You're right. We had some guys stay out. Seth Harrelson's still out here.
Yeah.
Looks like Ricky
Yeah,
Hardin.
so Macklin, I think,
Rundle.
was first off pit road, right?
Yeah. Macklin first off, and EJ followed him.
Yeah, so EJ did have a faster pit stop by time because he was the second one out. Let's reset your field as we go through. They're going down the back straightaway. The lights are on the pace truck, so we're not quite there. Reed Rundle is out front in the number 43. Ricky Hardin in the 15 is running second. And of course, as I do that, the timing and scoring switches over. But the Seth Harrelson 07 is running in that third position. Fourth to his outside is Brian Macklin in the 30. Fifth looks to be the 9 of Tyler Dalton. He might be in 6, actually. Fifth is EJ O'Rourke in that number 41. Mike Kelley, haven't talked too much about him except for that little brush with the wall. He's sitting back there in the 8th position. To his inside, 7th is the 38 of Chad Coleman. Cole Dutton. I was noticing earlier, somebody got into the back of that car, Joey, as the car has a little damage on the back of that Chevrolet.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a little contact. Could have been as they were just drafting around the racetrack. Shouldn't bother them too much. We'll watch the car and see if there's any negative consequences from the caution.
Yeah, we had one driver out earlier tonight. Jeff Shrewsbury got into some action, and we'll look to see if we can catch up with him. Let's see if we can get that micro pack working on him. Jeff Shrewsbury, can you receive us here?
Yes, sir. I got a copy.
Yeah, so not the night you wanted. You're out a little early. I just want to check something. We know you guys were looking at the broadcast. Are we having some challenges?
I'm hearing an echo on Joey's end.
Okay, we'll look to see if we can get the mic guys to see if they can correct that mic pack. So, Jeff, sometimes the bear eats you, right? You end up finding yourself out of this event on lap number 9. Tell us what happened over there.
I was just kind of trying to hang out in the back, avoid all the wrecks. As Joey knows, I'm not a big fan of speedway racing, but I thought I'd try to have a little fun. So I was just kind of riding around in the back and still couldn't avoid the wrecks. So I think someone got turned into me, or I don't know what happened, but wrecked it hard enough to where I didn't feel like sitting around for 50 laps, spitting and sputtering. So I just called it a night.
Yeah, fair enough. We said on the opening, you either love, hate, or are indifferent with these tracks, and unfortunately, you're going to have an early retirement tonight. So we'll see you next week. We're back to green flag action out front. The field comes off of turn number 4. They are working lap number 22, and just turn and say thanks, Jeff, for taking a moment to spend some time with us here.
Yeah, before you guys do these, Jeff, you get to walk away from
It sounds good here in Discord. Let me check the broadcast.
We got a battle 3 wide down the backstretch. Jeff said there was
I saw the number 2 dropped.
Caution stop. Clear stop, clear ahead.
What a shame. I was watching that come off the corner and saw EJ just get sideways, and I kind of closed my eyes for a moment, hoping it wasn't going to be there. The car turned sideways, and we saw the 8 get in the mix-up and several other drivers, and yeah, this would qualify as the big one. And we've been talking about the prowess of EJ O'Rourke, but unfortunately, this is going to take him and several other of the top competitors out here. A big crash at Daytona International Speedway, as we're under caution one more time here tonight for a big incident coming through the tri-oval. Yeah, and now we see the drivers kind of collecting back there on the backstretch, getting. It looks like they're trying to figure out the starting order, Joey. So, yeah, what a change in this race. This could happen at any time, and unfortunately, with this incident, we're going to take quite a few of our top competitors, typical here on the super speedways, and shuffle the deck for this race.
Yep, so a lot of guys that had highs,
Caution number 4 for a big incident over in the tri-oval here at Daytona, and the field resets. A couple drivers going to go in and see if they can get their cars back in racing position. And you were talking about Cole Dutton. He made his way through. I don't know how. He probably had his eyes closed, sitting in that 8th position. And a couple other drivers snuck through. It looks like Aaron Bennett came through unscathed. Robert Gillenwater in the 4 always seems to find the hole. And yeah, a lot of drivers were laying back, Joey. We talked about whether or not the strategy was to just wait till the second half of the race and try to avoid some things. And, some of those drivers playing that strategy, it's going to pay off right here. It's trouble up front.
Absolutely, Kevin. And while we have a caution and a chance, let's check out Kickass beef jerky. Just remember, Sim500 your code, 19% off. Now go to the website tonight for some Kickass beef jerky.
Yeah, so collective breath here as the drivers ride behind the pace truck down the back straightaway, and we're just looking at whether we're going to see any further attrition here tonight. I look back through the field: Randy Yoakum, 1 lap down; Doug Sigmon, Todd Kirkwood, Jeff Shrewsbury, who we just talked to, Scott Simley, and Bill Schoonover, all pretty much out of this race now. Randy's in getting some service, but quite a few drivers took impact. And with a super speedway race, you definitely do not want to be trying to, make your way around here with damage. The car is not going to suck up to the car in front of you with the front end bent up, the fenders bent up, and unfortunately a lot of drivers took quite a bit of impact over there in the grass just past the tri-oval.
Sorry, I didn't have the. I had the. Yeah, I can hear.
Lights are off on the base truck. Ricky Hardin gets back to racing here very shortly. Yeah, it looks like we got about 10 rows of race cars that do not have damage. 99, Jason Barum, we talked about him earlier. It looks like he's actually been making tonight. This has been the first half of the race.
Yeah.
99. Little highlight Chevrolet.
Yeah, and as we said, he was sitting back there just trying to bide his time. And again, everyone, we apologize for the sound quality. We were still trying to see if we can get Joey's microphone sorted out, as we know he's coming through quiet and you're picking up a little bit of an echo. But we continue to work on the sound problems as the lights are out on the pace truck. We have the top 5 just sitting there knowing that new set of players in the house. Ricky Hardin, Seth Harrelson, Mike Kelley, Tyler Dalton, and Robin Gillenwater are going to start as the pace truck goes in.
Green flag, green
this
flag.
changes the dynamic, because every time you get into a restart with different players, everybody kind of has to gauge the speed. It's going to be up to Ricky Hardin to kick it off. He's running hard down there on the inside to the outside. He has the 07 of Seth Harrelson, and Mike Kelley trying to continue to put a whipping on these guys as the sun is setting here.
Jeff,
Yes, Joey.
do you want to get in and call the race and somehow these problems will just race?
Well, no, I'm not good at that.
Into turn number 3, they run one more time. Kelley on the inside, right behind Ricky Hardin at 0-7. Seth Harrelson jumps out for the first time. Kenny B scored the leader of this lap as he heads through the tri-oval. He is indeed going to lead lap number 28, working lap number 29. He has Tyler Dalton on the outside looking. Tyler's got a good run. Comes up to the right rear quarter panel, goes down. Tries to take some air off the outside of the 0-7. But that 0-7's got a strong run, and he's going to lead him going off into the back straightaway. That car, big wobble up off the corner. He's going to come up and do the block to the number 9. Gets a little tap on the bumper, and they head into the corner one more time, slamming into the banking. Good job by Harrison to hold him at bay as here comes the 15 of Hardin to the inside for the lead. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Tyler Dalton was right in the middle of Gillenwater, and he just had to hold his breath and hold tight. And wow, these guys are right on edges. Again, Joey, I'm going to ask you to look and check your mic pack. Your sound is just really low here. I can hear you, but apparently coming across the broadcast, you're not bringing the volume that everybody can pick up what you're saying.
Well, I think what this is saying, Kevin, is I'm not an announcer or a producer. I need to be down there on the race cars. We still got the playback, but guys, we'll get it all figured out. I believe this is our 3rd time. Last week, I didn't even know how to get the stream started. So we're doing good. We've actually got the broadcast up. We'll worry about sound next week. How about that?
That microphone guy plugged in the right one that time as he's got you squared away now. As out front, it's Mike Kelley leading the pack as they go through the back. See him drift up off the corner, and then he's able to dive in the corner and drive down low, get a good run up off. He's going to come up and block that outside lane, then return down to the bottom here as they roll through the tri-oval. Mike Kelley scored the leader here on lap number 32. As I tell you what, Joey, I know we've got a lot of laps to go, but action is picking up here. That front pack is running really tight.
Well, I don't think these guys have backed off yet. Here comes Bob Gillenwater. This is a spot that you normally don't see Bob in with 29 laps to go, but that 4 is unleashed as he's pushing Mike Kelley out to the front.
To take a moment because, somebody brought me some ice cream, Joey.
In the wall. Tyler Dalton sideways. Big crack in turn 3.
Guys,
See the
quick.
71
they're wrecking
over there,
again. Jason
contact
Barum.
hard into the outside.
Stay by those fans. Do what you can to keep cool.
Wow.
And unfortunately, I see that Cory Chester, number 6, sitting over against the wall one more time over there.
That was a big one. So we've had 2 big ones tonight.
Yeah, it must be the, I have to look and see where the moon is. It's right behind the clouds, but that started with just a problem with the 0-7, got sideways, lost the car. The 9 had no place to go, and then everybody stacked in behind him. And that brings us under caution number 5 here at Daytona.
Yeah, that's a tough break. The 07 just a little loose, and then just nowhere to go there. The 9 got in the back of him. Macklin turns the 9, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate for these drivers, but we just said how tight they were running in that group, and it was inevitable that if one of them was going to have a problem, several other drivers are going to get collected, and strong runners in the 9, in the 30, and unfortunately for like Ryan in the 51, he came along and just could not get the car stopped, clobbered another car, and that really just all started with a ill-handling car going into the corner for the 0-7, and with everybody stacked up, one right after another, Joey, going into the corner, there's just no place for error over there.
There's not, Kevin. They're on the edge and out of control. You've heard that saying a bunch, but that's definitely the case with these cars.
So we see Jeff Shrewsbury was able to find his way across the racetrack, Joey, and has come up here, and I see him in the booth next door, and we know he calls races every once in a while. Maybe we ought to bring him in here and see if he's got a little something to share with us. He was just out on the racetrack. We'll see if we can mic him up. A lot of drivers on pit road right now. I see Reed Rundle just make his way into the we're seeing drivers take those tires. Those drivers who did save their tires were past halfway. Makes sense for them to get them done, and a lot of drivers taking opportunity right now, Joey, to make some pit service.
Yep, Mike Kelley, points leader, leading the race still. I guess these guys stayed out. Is that correct?
Well, I think if you're done with your service, now's the time, as we were talking about, to get up front and control your own destiny. And yeah, the 5 is out front.
5 cautions too. We go with the 5. Jeff Shrewberry's up here. I tried to convince him to do a little talking, but Jeff, you out there?
I'm here, bud. I closed iRacing out already, so I'm already out of the server. I can't really see what's going on. And I'm not much of a commentator, to be honest with you.
That's a cheap shot, Jeff.
Jeff, all you gotta do is look out the windshield. But I get it. Maybe we put you at a disadvantage, but it's always neat to get the perspective of the drivers out there. If you're Mike Kelley, is it a good strategy to just try and be out front and outrace these guys, or do you think that's a fool's errand?
Man, you're only halfway, a little over halfway. I don't think that's a good call. Then again, I tried to hang out in the back, and I still got wrecked. So I don't know where it's safe to be in this race.
Well, you know what? We'll just take some notes right here as we're working lap number 35 and look at who's up front and see whether they get to stay there. We see Gillenwater to the outside, and we know he runs really well. The 99 of Barum. He's looking to have a good points night, and sitting there in the 4th position, it's still way too early to call it, but I kind of like towards the latter part of the race to get up front, but then when they get crazy, I just sometimes pull below the yellow line and let them have at it. I'll come back later.
Yeah, there's just so many laps left. What is it?
35 in of 60.
25. Yeah, 25 laps to go. My strategy would be to hang behind the pack about a second, because with if you're only a second back, you can hit the gas and catch back up to the field very easily. So I would try to hang back a second back behind the pack, maybe a little more, and just try to avoid the carnage. And when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah, for sure. So Joey, it looks like these drivers just trying to get themselves to the finish, and I see one car sitting back there that we have not talked about at all. Now sitting in the 8th position, the 97 of Gerald Livingston in the Valvoline colors. That Ford Thunderbird looks clean as can be.
Yeah, running in toward the back of the field, just biding his time, being clean.
Green flag.
Here we go, back to green flag racing. We'll see what the 97 can do.
You can hear the engines come up as the roar, and wow, big jump by the number 2 to that bottom line. Guess he wanted the bottom there. As soon as they crossed the line, he rolled down. And I see the 97 of Livingston filling that gap. He's going to come up 3rd car to the outside, but not a surprise. The 5, Mike Kelley, leads him to the back straightaway. He always somehow finds his way there. And, well, look at Tim Wertman Jr. He's had a good year and a bad year and a good year and a bad year through these different races, and he sits right there inside row number 2, running in the 2nd position, with a veteran Gillenwater to the outside.
Yeah, Bob Gillenwater got a teammate behind him with Jason Barum. We saw him in that wreck. He's actually still running pretty strong. And another car, EJ O'Rourke. EJ is right back in this race. And, man, he had a hard lick. How is that 41 still running?
I have no idea. The car is wrinkled on the front, wrinkled on the back, but somehow in the draft he's able to tuck right underneath. It looks like Kyle Busch out there. And, we were talking about the 97. I saw Livingston say, no. I could just read his mind. He pulled up to the right, drove off, let everybody go by, and he got back in there where Jeff said to run about a second or so off the back of the pack. My sense is Livingston feels like this isn't over yet.
Smartest guy on the racetrack right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, as we see these cars move around, we can't forget that in this model of car, the cars are a handful. You're just driving the heck out of it. Every corner, every lap, even down the straightaway, the cars wobbling back and forth. Yellow out on the speedway, and we'll figure out where the caution lies. But yeah, these guys have a handful running this car around this racetrack.
Yeah, it's just a shame these guys in the front. And when I say that, there has been some wrecks toward the front, but most things have been toward the back. We'll take a look and see what happened here. Oh, looks like the one car. Another car just loose by himself. Off the banking, back up the track, and Jimmy Coleman done for the night.
Wow, what a shame. And you see that bullseye car, it had a bullseye on it. That number one got pretty severe damage to that. And the funny thing is, we were calling one of the cars before, sitting off the back of the pack, being patient. And the one is doing the same thing. And unfortunately just lost the handle on the entry to the corner.
Yeah, so many cars tonight have just lost control on their own. But again, we've mentioned how these cars drive. I mean, you go down the corner, you're sideways, you're lifting off the gas to get the car to turn. So, I don't know, it's a handful for sure.
Yeah, and we were just saying how the 97 did a retreat, and then you see towards the end there, he kind of slid in, made contact with it. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't, Joey.
Yeah, there's not a safe place, but if you're going to ride in the back, you better make sure you're not involved in the wreck. So being cautious, you need to make sure you get the car mowed down. But these cars don't like to slow down. That's another thing. These are big, heavy race cars, so that's probably the benefit of, I don't know, just maybe being too close, then he should have laid back a little bit more. Who knows?
So I hate to admit it, but there are occasions where I just ride out in the back, like literally, and you've seen this in real racing. They'll run 3 seconds off the back of the pack. They even sometimes get lapped. And what you're trying to do is play the horses. You're looking to see if you could figure out, well, when will the last caution be? And then you just run that last segment, and with the draft, if you move back and forth and attrition, you can get yourself a decent finish. I don't know if you're going to win that way, but a lot of times, Joey, you can points race that way and do very well, and you could probably get your way up there if you guess properly to get a good top 10 finish.
There's Tyler Dog getting the lucky dog. It's going to put him 2 laps down now, but still out of contention. But yeah, when I'm driving these races, I kind of go with the flow. I like to be behind the big group. I like to miss all the wrecks early and let it work itself out. But again, Kevin, if my car's fast enough and I'm able to be in the front 5, then that's sometimes the safest play to be. If you're not going to be in the front 5, be in the last 5, half a track behind the field, and then that'll pretty much assure you. It's like the Dale Jarrett strategy. You'll at least see the end of the race, but when you have the chance to win, it just kind of got to see how the cars fall.
I could hear half the sim racing community groaning right now, saying, "Where's the fun in that?"
It's not fun. I know it's not, but it's not fun to wreck either.
No, I mean, you could talk to Jeff Shrewsbury and hear the dejection in his voice, right? He comes out, he has a night planned of racing, and then lap, 9, unfortunately, that's about as far as he gets. But, we have to look at this. We're 40 laps in, 2/3 of this race is over, and it's go time. I feel like, you need at least 8 to 10 laps to gain any track position here. And we know that there's going to be a couple cautions that'll take your opportunity away. I'm sorry, I should say that there's the potential for some additional cautions. So I always think that the last third of the race, you need to gingerly move your way forward and get yourself into that top 5 if you want a shot at the win.
Well, it's definitely where you need to be. And right now, the top 5, they look, well, I say E.J. O'Rourke's here in 4th. I still just cannot believe that the back end is pushed in on that car, but he is still competitive. We'll see what happens with that car once they get up to speed. Could he win with that race car? That would be amazing to see him in victory lane.
Yeah, and I always like to pull for the underdogs. We're not supposed to pick favorites or whatever, but some of these drivers, they can use a win. and use a good way to reset the season for themselves. And I'm all for a winner of somebody like Chad Coleman, who's got a win on the season, but I still like to see another winner come through. I want one first-time winner in this event. So I guess we'll see how it plays. What we want and what we get really doesn't matter. But as we look at this setup, some familiar names up front for sure: Gillenwater, Kelley, O'Rourke, Dutton, Coleman, Barum. You have Tyler Dalton back there. Certainly, I think you'll see some of those drivers who always somehow make their way up to the front, Joey, find their way forward here in this last 20 laps.
Well, this is the race that Tyler Dalton didn't need after blowing up last week. He's wrecked tonight. He came in tonight, I think he's 50 points back after was the point leader for quite some time.
Green flag,
That was
flag,
Mike
green
Kelley
flag.
and Chad Coleman as we're back to racing. Mike Kelley leads us.
Back on the throttle as Kelley gets a good start. And again, we see the outside lane dive to the inside. We see E.J. O'Rourke go from behind Gillenwater. Now he comes back up in front of the number 2. And that slot that he was available to him is gone. Aaron Bennett has filled it up. Bennett tucked to the back bumper of Wortman. Wortman right to the back bumper of your leader in the 5 of Mike Kelley. Gillenwater has a good run to the outside with O'Rourke pushing him. They go into the banking one more time. The outside lane has the advantage. But here comes the 5 of Kelley one more time for the challenge in the lead.
Mike Kelley doesn't want to let it go, but Bob Gillenwater knows how to get it done. Trans-Service Cup Series winner at Talladega this year. His first Sim500 victory was on the big stage in the Cup car. He's trying to get it done tonight in the 87 cars.
41 was stuck right to the back bumper of that Kodak number 4 as they went through the trial. The car looked like it took off from the back end. Gillenwater chased it right up to the fence, was able to gather it up. Not sure if O'Rourke had to do anything to stay off of him, but they are nose to tail there on the inside and outside lane. And now we see again the outside lane has the advantage on the entry, but it seems like Kelley's able to pull him off the corner. I had to draw up in my seat there for a moment as I saw the number 2 car just slice coming out of turn number 4 to the tri-oval to the bottom. And I don't know how he found maybe a whisker to slide in there. Cole Dutton, that was a interesting move as now we're 3 wide for second, and here comes the 41 pushing to the outside. He's got the 38 right behind him, shoving him through. And we wondered whether that car was going to be competitive. Well, O'Rourke is trying to hunt for the lead.
The second spot, get a little push from Chad Coleman here, sideways to the trial. He's going to give a challenge here to Mike Kelley.
Yeah, he got up there and the car looked like it just kind of stalled, almost like a parachute came out. Not sure if that's from the damage or whether he just had a sideways run up off the corner. Still challenging, but do not see him surging forward. And I have to wonder if that damage on that car is going to prevent him from being able to be competitive and slice his way, like we saw earlier, right out in front of that number 5 to take the lead.
Well, right on the 41 car, we got to see something I hadn't seen all night. And you may have mentioned earlier, a little damage on the right side of Mike Kelley's car. Obviously not hurt him too bad as he still holds the lead. Tim Horton Jr. pushing pretty hard to keep that car. Looks like he may hit the apron. Yeah, we kind of got a little separation. That could help EJ right here.
Yeah, now we see Cole Dalton. He's inside. He's outside now. Right now, his favorite place is to be in the outside. He's in that 5th position, tucked in behind the number 38. Maybe he thinks the outside lane is going to have the advantage as Wortman is right tucked in on that number 5 of your leader, Mike Kelley, and doing a good job just kind of staying stable. And that's what drivers like Kelley want. They look at someone like Wortman who is fairly new to them, and they just say, does that driver hold his line? Does he stay in place? And oh, what a slide for Aaron Bennett off the corner over there.
Only got 14 laps to go. It is time to put up or shove. We have 6 calls. We hope we'll have another. It'll be exciting.
See another car creeping into the picture there. Jason Barum in the number 99. He's decided it's time to go. He moves up to the 8th position. Now he slices underneath Ricky Hardin in the 15th. This is the 41. Did what we wondered whether he could. He got enough advantage to go out front. Bandit Chad Coleman dived to the bottom, got underneath Mike Kelley. Kelley says not so fast. He's going to drive to the outside and drive around the 41 to lead that lap. Lap 48 in the books. And now Coleman is going to be his dance partner.
And Mike Kelley, just that play that E.J. Rourke wanted to make was to try to get down to the bottom, see if he could have that same advantage that Kelley was having. Holding off the lead, it just wasn't going to work. Mike Kelley just that strong. Now we got 1 and 2 of the points right now, battling out and down the back straightaway for the lead. Chad Coleman now is going to get that nice push from the 2 cars. He's going to now take control of this race with just 13 laps to go.
Yeah, so Cole Dutton, he's going to slide down underneath and take over that lead. He was able to come down to the low line, carry that momentum, and he's going to slide out. He had a little bit of help from Chad Coleman, and for the first time tonight, I believe that number 2 is going to lead. The race is on here. These guys are doing what they typically do in a track race like this, Joey, is they got to be up front at the end. Wow, Chad Coleman, 30 degrees yaw, that car completely sideways getting pushed by the number 41, and I still see the 83 of Wortman just hanging tough looking for his opportunities. Yeah, lean forward into that microphone, Joey, because it's about to get interesting. Kelley just sliced to the bottom. He did not want to lose the run that he had. He's going to come in and lead right now coming off the corner, but forward, backwards, sideways, all these drivers, they are hunting for every piece of real estate they can in this track to move forward. Track positions out as we see one car off in the grass in turn number 3. Not sure if that's going to pull the caution, but we saw one car hit the wall and go to the grass there as the leader streaked by without incident.
Yeah, the 71's back moving again. We're 10 laps to go. This thing's coming down the end.
Coleman now carrying the point with pressure from the 5 of Kelley right behind him to the outside. It is the number 2 as Coleman wiggles, and that's going to open that inside lane of 5, taking evasive action up to the middle of the racetrack. And, well, here comes O'Rourke one more time. See Jason Barum right there on the outside, and Aaron Bennett still hanging tough. And you know, we said it. The number 4, Robert Gillenwater, running in the 8th position. If the C's part, I would not be surprised to see him come through and sneak away a top finish.
Yeah, I know he definitely wants to put that car in victory lane. He made a mistake early. He gave up that middle lane, which you can't do, and EJ took advantage of that and pushed the 4 car back. He's working his way back up now, pushing teammate Jason Barum. Oh, Wortman sideways, the 83 sideways.
Caution.
Sideways, collects it. Now he's sideways one more time. The 4 got involved. The 15 got a piece of that. 43 goes down to the apron to keep himself. And, you know, we saw Wortman come off of turn number 4. The car broke loose. He slid up sideways, and they just never really seemed to get the car settled underneath him. And when he went through the trial, the car turned around, and for Tim Wortman, a good run. Turned bad one more time as we go under caution, lap 52.
Bob Gillenwater, nowhere to go. And something we had talked about tonight, Shannon Wood, the O2 machine. I know that's a couple of cautions. He's just been wrong place, wrong time, and involved again.
So now this changes everything. That's what they say, right? This is going to reset everybody. And some of those cars that were out in the back, out of touch, the top cars were just running wide open, Joey, all the way through there. And they had kind of broken away a little bit. But this is going to put everybody nose to bumper all the way back in the lead pack.
7 cautions, 8 laps to go. I think we probably have another caution in us, Kevin. What do you think?
Cautions breed cautions. And, you know, the other thing that occurs is you get these drivers that get that accordion effect somewhere through the middle. And, yeah, I think there's possibly another caution and a green-white checker in our future. But what a run. That last segment was just every moment someone would slide forward, slide high, slide low, put a block, take advantage of a run, and they were just shuffling the deck chairs all the way through that entire run. And I have to say, great driving by everybody. And unfortunately, 83 just pressing as hard as he could. And we've all been there. You run that line, and sooner or later you get yourself right on the edge. And unfortunately, somebody slips up.
Kevin, speaking of slipping up, we got EJ O'Rourke here in the booth with us as the 41 car is now sitting second in the race. EJ, tell us how the heck you're keeping that car up front tonight.
I feel like Joey can tee it up here, man, making moves, getting to the front. Damage doesn't matter, man. This thing is fast. This 41 Gary Mercer truck in Monte Carlo is cooking.
Well, EJ, do you have enough to win the race? I mean, can you get out front? We saw you make the move on Mike Kelley. You went to the bottom. He crossed you over. Can you lead with your car, or is it going to be something you're going to have to make a move out of turn 4?
Well, unfortunately, we can't leave Daytona with this car because it's going to sit in the experience down there for a year. So, no, we're not leaving Daytona with this car.
All right, EJ, we're going to move back down. Good luck. We'll be on the edge of our seat watching this finish.
See you in victory lane, buddy.
Sounds great.
I do believe the adrenaline is high in that number 41 car.
There's something high about it. I don't know if it's a drill or not.
I'll tell you what, you sound like he had a little 5 hour energy there going on.
You want to see if we can get a hold of our points leader, get Mike Kelley up here to talk about it?
Sure. Let's see if he's available to us. We'll look and see whether we're in the 3rd position right now. And we'll see if we can turn the radio knob to the number 5, Levi Garrett Chevrolet. Mike Kelley, Kevin England up in the booth. You got a copy on us?
I was wondering if you were ever going to talk to me.
How about it? You're riding around here with just a handful of laps, and boy, these guys are pressing hard tonight.
This is some crazy stuff. I wasn't getting much help there from behind, and it was pretty hard fighting those guys off.
Yeah, these guys are sick of seeing that Levi Garrett on the back of your car. They want to be out in front of it. But good run tonight, keeping the car clean. We noticed right from the get-go you got up against the fence, but the car seems to be performing for you.
Yeah, but I haven't pitted. I'm still on I've pitted, but I'm still on my original tires. So it's a little slick up there on that high side I found out in that last run. But it's pretty good on the bottom. I just hold my own on the bottom and hope I get some pushes. But now I'm going to have to make some moves here, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you look like you had a dance partner in the Wertman car, but unfortunately he slipped up there and had a little trouble. So now you have the 38 behind you, and I don't know that he's going to try to help you out too much there, Mike.
Probably not.
Yeah. So look, the lights are out on the pace truck. We're going to let you go back to get to business. Good luck in this final run. Keep the thing heading in the right direction, will you?
Thanks. It's probably going to be a wild one. Hope you survive.
Yep. There's Mike Kelley running in 3rd position. Let's reset your field for this restart. It's Cole Dutton in the 2 out front. EJ O'Rourke on the outside. Mike Kelley in 3rd. Jason Barum in 4th. Chad Coleman runs in 5th. Robert Gillenwater in the 6th position. Aaron Bennett, Reed Rundle, 7th and 8th, 9th and 10th. Tim Wortman Jr. and Gerald Livingston. A lot of those drivers out in the middle of the pack, Joey, have had a little bit of tussle, tangle, damage, but it looks like their car's still performing, and this is still anybody's race.
Definitely, it's still anybody's race. It's going to be exciting. We thought it was action-packed earlier, but 6 laps to go. There is absolutely no lifting. So here we go. Pull the belts tight, and let's give it hell.
We're going to close out caution number 7, and it's going to be the number 2 of Cole Dutton bringing us back to green. And he has just a wound-up, ready-to-go player in EJ O'Rourke. And will we have a first-time winner here tonight, or will we get our first repeat of the season? We'll find out in just a couple laps. Cars coming up through the gears, and they are tight, nose to tail in that top 6 heading off to turn 1.
Teammates Jason Barum, Bob Gillenwater, they're back there behind EJ O'Rourke. I just don't think that car can do it by himself out front. He needs to be behind someone pushing him, but here we go, off over turn 2. The bottom lane definitely has the advantage as Chad Coleman's looking to clear here in the 3rd spot.
You look at that O'Rourke car, and you think these guys, they don't want to play with him. They know he's going to be hard to play with, and they really would like to just get around him and put him behind because his car doesn't seem to draw very well with all that damage. You see the 99 at Barum trying to decide whether he's going to follow him or go around him. And out front, it continues to be the 2 of Dutton with the 5 in his tire tracks. The 2 comes up and covers the 41. Now he comes back down and covers the 5. He's blocking in the right way, just trying to make sure that he gets whatever lane he has to run behind him and pushing him forward so he can stay out front with a handful of laps to go.
Down the back straightaway, the points leader, Mike Kelley, going to look on the outside of number 2. Normally Mike's in the 2, but tonight he wants to be the 5 in front of the 2. Mike Kelley at the top of the track, but no help as he's going to hold back, and the 2's going to lead off turn 4.
Big wobble out of the 38 of Coleman going through that corner, but he was able to gather it up just the way he always does. They go through the tri-oval to complete lap number 58, working lap 59. Dutton comes back down, covers that very precariously. Now the car wobbles. He's in the middle. I'll tell you what, if he's just got to be careful, because sooner or later one of these guys, they're not going to lift. I'm watching that 03 of Aaron Bennett. He looks like he's in a catbird seat. If this opens up, he might drive right through the middle and sneak away and win.
Just riding over there in a minute right here. As you see, Mike Kelley trying to go over the 2 here for the lead. Aaron Bennett has not made a bad run all tonight. The car's clean. He's got a car. If he can just get an opening, watch that 03 go to the front.
Barum drives from the outside, then to the inside, now back out to the outside lane, trying to see which lane is going to have the advantage. Dutton still out front, holding serve over. He slides up in front of the number 5, and he's a little sideways. That's going to allow the 38 to draw up on the inside line. As I'll tell you what, these guys are wide open trying to protect their territory going down the backstretch.
Hard down the backstretch. This is what Mike Kelley wants. He wants to have E.J. O'Rourke behind him. E.J.'s a heck of a pusher right now. You got some separation between the leader, Cole Dutton, and Jack Coleman. Here we come to the white flag. Oh, Mike Kelley involved in it. Looks like the 38 as well. Oh, Mike Kelley's upside down.
Our top 2 cars go off to the infield grass. They're crashing down in the thing, but we remain green as everybody's driving into turn number 1. It's still Dutton out front, and the 0, well, is it the 03 right behind him?
A big push coming. Bob Gillenwater
goes down to the bottom. The 03 to the outside. They're going to split your leader. One of them's going to get to the advantage as they go through turns 3 into turn number 4. Dutton still holds the serve. It is the 03 to the outside. They make contact. Here they come around. It's going to be checkered flag.
Oh, wow, what a finish.
Oh, I think the 2 went. Look at the 41 rolling. Oh,
wow.
That was spectacular.
I think I said that way too many times tonight. Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. The 2 of Dutton down to the bottom of Aaron Bennett. They made contact. They were beaten, banging, coming through turn 4, through that short straightaway to the tri-oval. The 2 got into the 03. 03 slid sideways, got the back against the fence, and that somehow propelled the 2 in front of him. And he won this race going across the line backwards.
Unbelievable. Wow. Well, Kevin, we'll catch up with our winner here. We'll take a short break, and Cole Dutton, he survives tonight, wins Daytona, not Talladega. We'll be right back.
You look at some of the wrecks and stuff that I've been in. We had a diehard in there at that time. We probably could have seen it from the grandstand because it tore all the sheet metal off. And we just take them out of that car and put them in another car and crank it up and go on. Diehard's still going and I'm not, so I guess they're a little tougher than I was. We used to have a lot of trouble with the big heavy engines, and when they got hot, you had to push them off. So diehard was the only thing that would crank them up. It's the same kind of battery. You just go up to Sears and tell them you want a battery and put it in the car and crank it up.
I saw a lot happening.
Lot happening tonight. Here we go. Well, back here at Daytona with the Sim500 Network. Guys, it's been fun. We apologize for all the difficulties I've had with the microphone. I'm going to be quiet now. Let Kevin take over and finish this thing up.
Yeah, no matter what happened early on, it was the finish that was the payoff. What an incredible race all the way through it. gonna walk over here, and he's shaking his head. He gets a pat on the back, and I'm gonna slide over here to our first two-time winner tonight, and I have no idea how that happened. Cole Dutton, you raced your guts out there the last couple laps.
Yeah, man, I have no idea how that kind of worked out there. I took it easy the first little bit there, and then towards the end, I was really kind of mental. Once I got the lead, I was just blocking for all I was worth. I hate that the finish the way it did. I felt like 41 got into me a little bit. I looked at the replay. If I got into the guy at 03, I apologize. Man, that was a crazy finish.
Yeah, the best way to describe that, from what we could see up here, is it was just elbows up all the way. I mean, everybody was against everybody else trying to find that advantage. And typically, if you come off turn 4, you're side by side, contact is going to be made. We really thought the 0-3 was going to win. He was sideways in front of you, heading to the line, and somehow your car swung around and crossed the line backwards.
Yeah, I was trying to get up to his door as close as possible there. He got a big run on me on the back stretch. I just couldn't block it, or we would have both wrecked. So figured I'd take my chances, and I was trying to side draft him a little bit and slow him down. And I guess I was just close enough that if contact was made to me, I could got into him, and that's what caused the spin out there. But yeah, finishing backwards is interesting. Never done that before in one race, so that was fun.
Well, that's win number 2, and I have to say, let's go back to those last 5 or 6 laps and the ballet that you did. Your car looked like it was completely out of control, but yet you were able to steer it high, steer it low, turn it down in front of the pack. You were, I'll say, selectively blocking, even though I know that's probably not primarily what you were doing, but what an incredible job you did with just a hungry pack right there behind you.
Yeah, like I said, I took it early in the race, and I never got my tires, and I was, learned from the first Daytona race not to go hard every single lap, and was saving my tires. So I felt like I had a little bit more than the other guys had up there, which allowed me to drive a little bit, more aggressively into the corners. And it definitely was getting loose those last couple laps, though. It was a handful.
Well, second win of the season, and in spectacular fashion. We'll give you a minute. Do you want to say hello to anybody, or just give a shout out while you have the microphone?
I'd just like to thank everybody here at the Sim500 network, and the league. And Jason Barum and everybody, Ricky, and you guys doing a good job up in the booth. I enjoy watching the broadcast every week, and just thank everybody for a fun race and everybody that helps put this on.
Yeah, so a win here tonight, a win in Michigan in race number 2, and you're the first 2-time winner, and that's got to feel really good. Go over and catch up with your friends and relive that incident, and maybe you catch up with O'Rourke, because what an amazing finish he had. You'll have to go take a look at what I'm talking about. But congratulations on the win, Cole.
Definitely. Thank you very much, bud.
Well, Kevin, we're down here with E.J. O'Rourke. We tried to get Aaron Bennett, but it sounds like he's in the infield care center. Big hit he took down there, so we'll catch up with third place E.J. O'Rourke.
Am I alive?
Are you alive? Yes, you're live, E.J. You did say you'd come back and you'd put the car out there. I mean, you did give it all you had. Tell us about it.
Man, that was close. I kind of broke my momentum there coming to the white when Coleman and Kelley got together, and I got tight through the trial and lost my momentum. But for a second, I thought I was going to win. If I had one more foot on Bob, I would have won that thing. But oh well, that was a lot of fun.
Well, it was definitely impressive, EJ. We saw you in that first wreck. Obviously, you pitted early. When you made that early pit stop, you were obviously working a fuel mileage game tonight, and then you easily made it back up to the front. Still just an amazing job you did tonight, buddy.
Mr. Cortina, I appreciate it. Couldn't have done this without the whole Sim500 team and Scary Mercer Trucking Monte Carlo. This thing was fast tonight.
Kevin, you got anything for the 41?
I just have to ask you, how do you feel about that pirouette you did on top of the fence? That was the most spectacular crash I think I've ever seen.
Oh, all I saw was a checker flag, and if I had one more foot on Bob, I would have cut low under the 2 and the 03, and I would have won that race. But that's all I was looking at.
You have to go back and look at that replay. I know a couple drivers already came over and made comment to you, but that was spectacular. And I got to say, I'm impressed, CJ, just running that car with all the damage you had. Would the car lead from out front? That was one question I had for you.
It would have probably been tough. I haven't let a lap tonight, which sucks. But really trying to get the extra 5 points. But it is what it is, and we'll just keep on fighting, getting the points lead.
Well, look, solid finish for third podium shot. One more time you get to talk to us here, and just got to say thanks for an exciting, fun race, and we'll look forward to see you next week. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for broadcasting. I always love going back and watching me either win, crash, or flip, or whatever. It's always fun.
EJ, I did that all night in the broadcast, so enjoy the replay. Good job, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Well, Joey, how about it? We finished this Daytona race. It was the last super speedway race of this series for this year. We're going to go to Atlanta, Alabama, and, well, I guess you could call Coca-Cola if we end up there, super speedway, but what a race.
Excellent race, and I tell you what, we did get a chance to see what happened to Mike Kelley, but he did get involved there toward the end. He got upside down. There are reports Mike Kelley is okay. He walked away from the race car, but unfortunately, that finish, he's 12th tonight. It looks like where did the 38 finish? Well, he did
like
12th, 10th. So
yeah.
Only a couple points. Mike Kelley will walk out here at least a 12-point advantage going into next week. So I guess leaving Daytona still with a points lead, that's a good deal for Mike.
Yeah, and the good news for Mike is if you had to go off the racetrack in that final corner, you took the 38 with you.
This is very true.
It's not good news for either one of them, but at least when you're talking about the point championship, that could really have made a big dent in Mike's forward progress, and some of the other guys behind them would have liked to cheer a little bit because the top two guys are going to give up some points there. But we got to come back to the second place finisher. We didn't get a chance to talk to him, but Aaron Bennett, first race of the season for him in the 03, strong ride, hung in the top 10, came forward in a textbook model right towards the end. And I'll tell you what, that run on the outside, Joey, just a little bit of a better advantage off of turn number 4, and he would have won his first race.
Yeah, he just hit it a little bit more, and I think coming off 4, Cole Dutton made that move up the track and to slow the momentum, and that just changed everything. If I was a 3, he probably should have been the first one to turn into a 2 and wreck him, so I don't know. A hell of a race for Aaron Bennett, and glad to have him at Sim500.
Well, I was looking at how this was going to play out, and we wondered whether we'd see that caution. Well, we saw the answer to that. No caution. They ran hard. Even though those guys crashed, they went down to the infield, and fortunate for us, we were able to remain green. We saw one of the most exciting finishes on Sim500 Network we've seen in a long time. It's Cole Dutton coming away for the win. Aaron Bennett second. EJ O'Rourke third. Robert Gillenwater again shows his prowess here in the super speedway. He finishes in the 4th position, and your top 5 quiet night but solid night for the 15 of Ricky Hardin.
Well, I think we've done all we can do tonight. It was a hell of a race. Looking forward to next weekend. Kevin, thanks so much for putting up with me, guys. Again, I apologize for the radio or the microphone. We'll get it figured out. But, yeah, that's all I got, Kevin. Send us home.
Always a pleasure, Joey. We really appreciate the work that you do. It's not easy, everybody, to do both the production and the call. And I enjoy this evening and look forward to coming back next week. Actually, next week, have a happy Thanksgiving for all of you in the U.S. Enjoy your time off. We'll be back December 3rd for a race at Atlanta Motor Speedway, 8 p.m. start time for the practice, and we hope you're going to come back and join us again on the Sim500 network. For Joey Jatina and Kevin England, my call tonight was a blast, and we appreciate you coming to join us. We'll see you next time on the Sim500 network.